Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Good afternoon, everyone. We hope you had a nice lunch and are feeling relaxed. Now, we're going to hear from some of the experts at Heriot-Watt University who will explain some of the principles that will help you design the energy sources and heating and cooling methods you might consider in your STEAM Pavilion project. And experts are waiting to answer your questions after the broadcast that you may have by placing them in the live chat, which is next to the video player. Now, on with the broadcast.
This video deals with heating, ventilation, air conditioning, lighting, and water. These are all issues to do with energy use in a building and making a building comfortable for the people using it. In order to introduce you to this topic, I'm going to call on a number of my colleagues, Dr. David Kelly, Dr. Fan Wang, and also Research Associate Kumar.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. David Kelly and I'm an Assistant Professor in Architecture Engineering at Heriot-Watt University.
Hello, I'm Dr. Fan Wang. I'm a colleague of Mr. Alex McLaren and Dr. David Kelly. My name happens to be highly relevant to the profession I've been doing. Fan, either you use it when you feel hot, or an electric one on your desk, or another electric one hanging on the ceiling of your room.
Hello, my name is Kumar Bishwajit Devnath. I am an architect and I work as a research associate in Heriot-Watt University for almost 2 years.
Our role as engineers and designers is to make sure that our buildings not only provide the functionality that users look for, but are also designed in a sustainable and environmentally friendly way.
First, we have to look, whenever we are designing a building or analyzing a building, we look into that where the building is situated. What is the climate condition that is situated in when it was built? The design should reflect the condition of the climate.
Now, in hot countries such as Dubai, overheating is our biggest risk. But the sun can give us advantages as well as disadvantages. Advantages would include ensuring we enhance daylighting in the building as much as possible. Not only do people prefer daylight, but it would mean that we rely less on using artificial lighting because that uses energy. Another reason why we want to do this is because it will avoid glare. And if too much glare comes into the building, people will not be able to use computers, they will not be able to use their phone because the sun will be in their eyes. Most of us spend the majority of our day inside buildings. We live, work, study, and play inside buildings. This means that a big portion of the energy that we use is consumed inside buildings. A report by the European Energy Centre shows that up to 40% of global energy is used inside our buildings. That number can be much higher in some countries, just like Dubai, where most buildings are air-conditioned and the water has to be desalinated to drink.
As a fan drives air to move, it provides cooling and ventilation. Therefore, my work focuses comfort and air quality in and around a building. If we are unable to release the right amount of heat, we will feel discomfort and even heat stress, such as we standing in the sun near a hot surface like a hot tarmac road in summer. The simple way to avoid this is to stay away from the hot surfaces or to have an umbrella. If the air is warm, again, we will be unable to release the right amount of heat. Then there are two things we can do to avoid this. One is to use a fan, as I demonstrated earlier, or to dress less.
If you are designing a building in a warm, humid area, then you have to have ample ventilation.
It also removes indoor stored air, including heat, carbon dioxide, smells, and moisture. So we use electric fans to provide cooling and keep room air fresh. If we organize airflow for the entire building by a fan system, linking all the rooms together through a ductworks, then we have a mechanical ventilation system. Obviously, the system uses energy, so therefore, it results in carbon emission, which is what we try to do our best to minimize it. There is a free way, however, to ventilate a building. The Mother Nature offers often breeze, and it goes into our building through open windows, doors, and it provides good natural ventilation as long as we can design the building properly through a good orientation, good layouts, and some other devices like wind towers.
This courtyard experience is one way that they can protect people and give them space to come together in community. So the buildings are built on a courtyard basis. Additionally, as you can see overhead, there's lots and lots of shading, and interestingly, the supports of the shading are these wind towers. Now, they're a traditional Arabic design and allow the air to be captured above roof level and channeled down into the courtyard space.
Now, let's talk about last but not least, air conditioning. Either mechanical or natural ventilation works only when the outdoor air is cool. Say its temperature is lower than 28 degrees Celsius. Unfortunately, in many places, like Dubai, the temperature outside is often higher than that number. To maintain thermal comfort, we have to use air conditioning. The key element in air conditioning is a refrigeration system. It is a machine that uses refrigerant to remove heat from one place to another. Remove. We use the system in two ways. The simplest one is to use it directly. And the system uses refrigerant to remove room heat to dump it outside. And we see this kind of systems very often in small buildings like our homes. In larger buildings, on the other hand, we use a refrigeration system to produce cool air. And the cool air goes to rooms linked together by ductwork to remove heat in the building. We also have other systems where chill water is produced by the refrigeration system, and the chill water goes to each room in radiators, chill beams to remove heat in the rooms. And those chill beams are linked together by a network of pipes. All the systems use energy, obviously. So we have to try as much as we can renewables to operate the system to minimize the impact to the natural environment and reduce the use of natural resources.
Because buildings are responsible for using so much energy, we need to make sure the buildings of the future have sustainability in mind and use as little energy as possible. There are two main ways of doing this. First of all, we need to make sure that buildings are designed passively. That means the building does not require mechanical systems and technology to make them comfortable, but in fact use this building design, such as the size, shape, form, orientation, to make sure that the internal space is comfortable for its occupants. The second way we can do this is use renewable energy or recycled energy. So in forms of renewable energy, we can use solar panels on the roof to generate electricity. We can use ground source heat pumps to take energy from the ground and bring that into the building to reduce our heating and cooling costs. In terms of recycled resources, We can use grey water by collecting the wastewater from our appliances such as showers and washing machines, store it, treat it small amounts, and then reuse that for flushing toilets and also for irrigation.
If the building is not well designed, then there will be a lot of need of heating and cooling, and that will increase the demand of electricity or energy. And to reduce that, we have to design it in a much more climate conscious way, where the design should reflect the constraints by the climate.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response,